The solution is actually to comply with that wonderful document called our Constitution. If it actually ensures everybody's rights are protected, or it did before the 88th Amendment to Article 1211. 1A I have no problems with. Article 1211, which removed judicial power from the courts. So that made the courts, that clipped their wings. It made them subject to Parliament, when in fact they should be a separate check, a separate balancing force of government against Parliament and against the executive. So if we respect the Constitution, and if we allow the Rakyat to elect the people, make the laws in Parliament, and let the courts decide whether those laws are just or whether they infringe on the rights of any minority, things will work quite smoothly. But if you have this tension is actually created by, I think, people who are using religion as a political tool. They are trying to use the religion so to show they are better Muslims or whatever, I don't know. And so they are actually trying to enlarge the scope of Sharia to an extent which is uncomfortable to many, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, because ultimately we want to be governed by, or I want to be governed by my elected representatives.
Is there a solution, and one that is acceptable to all the different sides of the divide? This issue now is up in the air still, and it still needs to be resolved. Right? In what condition, okay, would Muslim NGOs be able to sit down with their non-Muslim counterparts or with the Bar Council to try and find a solution that this issue can be resolved by amicably and to the satisfaction of both communities?
For Muslims, this is a matter of our religion. So whatever we do must be confined to our religion. So therefore, all the Muslims NGO are willing to have dialogue to resolve this issue. But when it comes to Bar Council has put everything is under the human rights. Human rights is unlimited, so-called as unlimited human rights. This cannot be accepted by Muslims. For us, for Muslims, there are rights, but all the rights are limited. It must be governed by something. So for Muslims, it must be governed by the Quran and Hadith. So that is our parameter. So we cannot go beyond that. So whatever, if you said human rights or whatever, it must be within the confinement of the Islamic law. So, but based on this also, actually Muslim NGO has been talking to non-Muslim counterparts. So we resolve quite a number of things without interference from the government and Bar Council.
It's a Supreme Court decision, Tan Sung Mui versus Tu New Kim. And there we had a 5-member panel of the Supreme Court deciding this issue. And they very clearly said that where there is this, there are these problems that arise in a marriage, the civil courts have jurisdiction over the marriage because it's a civil marriage. And they also made it clear in that judgment that the non-Muslim, the Sharia court does not have jurisdiction over the non-Muslim. So that's what we understood, and I think that is the correct statement of the law. So things were going along fine until recent court decisions, the ones that we mentioned earlier. So the courts actually, in a way, are the ones who created the problem in the first place. But nevertheless, if there is a problem, it has to be addressed. Recently, Zaid Ibrahim has mentioned that there is legislation, amendments are being made. I'm happy to hear that. I hope it progresses quickly.
But Zaid Ibrahim is no more a minister, and the status of the amendments is a mystery.
Now, if we are a society who cannot confront and address issues which to help wives and children and spouses, and I'm talking even of the converting spouse, they may have problems as well. If we cannot solve these problems, then what kind of a society are we? And you can only solve these problems if you discuss them. This whole thing about open and closed forum, if I can say something about that, these issues were already in the public domain. The Prime Minister was talking about it. People have talked about 1211A. People have talked about these issues. So why should it be a closed forum? Only if it's a public forum will members of the public have a chance to come forward and give their problems, give some examples, or they'll be able to come forward and speak about their problems that they're facing. When you hear from the other side, you can see that they also have their problems. So I can understand what they're saying. So why can't we get together and find a solution which is acceptable to everybody? To me, religion is a personal thing, I agree with that. But nobody should be put in a difficult situation as a result of conversion to any religion.
So, what's the solution here?
I think legislation. It's very clear in my mind that without legislation, this situation is not going to improve. And it is not difficult to resolve by legislation. To be fair, a lot of the groups came together, as I said, more than a year ago in a closed-door forum. They were very frank, we were all very frank. I was there, I was part of that process. And it was good that we could discuss it. But you see, nothing happened. So to say, look, all these things have to be done behind closed doors, well, behind closed doors, no one talked about it, but it also meant nothing happened. So sometimes, and I don't think that this is an issue when you're talking about legislation that necessarily has to be behind closed doors. Now on Article 1211A, I must explain. The stand of the Bar Council is that there is no need to amend Article 1211A. It is actually clear. There's no need to, we do not advocate a repeal, and we think the Article 1211A is clear. We thought the problem was that the court recently were not interpreting it correctly. The case that I mentioned earlier, the 1994 case, was after 1211A was enacted, and they didn't have a problem interpreting the Constitution, the article. But it's recently that we've had this problem. So we've actually said there's no need to amend 1211A, but I know that there are parties, and I think even PAS may have suggested, to make it clearer, maybe you may have to look at amending 1211A. But as far as the Bar is concerned, we don't think it's necessary. We think it is a matter of interpretation and that the courts have to get it right. Yeah.
Suggestions that if a couple had gotten married in a civil process, then before the husband or the wife can petition for divorce, the responsibilities under that civil process should be carried out first. What are your views on that?
I agree with that, because it's like a contract, because marriage is a contract. So if you enter into a contract under a particular law, you must resolve the issues in relation to that contract under the civil law. Then you can, you can move to the Sharia court if there's a conversion to Islam. So I would agree with that approach, and I believe that that was the approach we had discussed at this closed-door meeting about a year ago. But yes, I would agree with that approach.
Would the Bar Council be thinking about organizing a similar forum, closed door or...?
Closed door, otherwise, yes. You see, we have actually... I gather that PAS has, well, I read about it, that PAS had invited and said that they were prepared to talk to the Bar Council. And we are ready to talk to any groups on this issue. So yes, we would be very happy to attend closed door, open door, whatever, dialogue with anyone on this issue. And in fact, I'm very happy to even talk to the people who think that what we did was wrong. I would really like to meet these people and explain to them that it was never our intention to discuss any religion, only the legal issues involved.